Hey guys, it's Ash here. I got a quick video for you guys. I'm not too used to doing this, but I thought, I worked on this build. It's helping me out, and it might help a lot of new people starting out on the game. So I run the class as tank, which is my main on Outriders, and I thought I'll share this build with you guys very quickly. So this build is called the Leech King Devastator build, and it's all about doing as much damage as possible to your enemy, as well as trying to aggro them, pull them to the front towards you and away from your allies. At the same time applying bleed and using tremor to do damage as well. And the bleed is the key factor here because you want to apply bleed to leech your health back, and you also want to damage them with Devastator. You can also use Golem. Golem will also apply bleed, but that's by applying a mod to your gear. And you obviously want to use Tremor, and Tremor is going to heal you back as well as do some damage. But the main factor here is obviously the bleed, and with the bleed you get a lot more leeching coming back to you, which heals you. So yeah, here we go. I'm gonna try and break this down into segments. So what I'll do next is go over gear. Alright, so I'll catch you guys now for gear. Alright guys, let's quickly go over gear, and this gear thing is not based on something that you need to have. You can probably start off in the game with this. Obviously I'm not saying start off at like the very beginning and run this, because you won't have a lot of the mods. You'll have to find the mods by dismantling gear and armor pieces, etc. to get those mods. So what I'm focused on here is obviously keeping on the highest possible gear. So obviously, as you can see, my gear level is 35, 35, 35, 35, level 35 that is, and then my armor is around the 20, sorry, I want to say 20,000, but the 2,500 mark, 2,600 mark. So you'll see this is 2,567, and the rest of them are all at 2,6. So that gives me some good armor protection. And the biggest thing about this thing is that because we're running 3 specific skills, we want to make sure we have mods for those 3 skills, and the best mods that you could possibly find. So obviously these mods will all be level 1 mods in regards to your skill abilities, so they're not too OP, which was a great decision by the developers. So obviously, number 1, we have a look at in regards to the helmet piece. You'll see I'm running Blood Shock, so Earthquake inflicts bleed on enemies damaged by the skill, which is really great. So in conjunction with Earthquake doing a lot of damage, you're also getting bleed applied, which makes them a lot more easier to kill because they take more damage with bleed on. For the chest piece, I am running Crush Sequence, which is a tremor ability or tremor mod. Receives 2 additional explosions, so you generally get 2 explosions out of tremor, as far as I know, as far as I can remember off the top of my head. And with this, you're getting 4, so you're doing more damage, and you're actually getting back more health, which is really great. And then for the pants, I am running Stolen Life. So tremor increases the percentage heal per affected enemy by 6%, which is nuts for a Devastator or tank class, and that works really well. So that's 2 mods you want to have in regards to your tremor ability. So we're obviously looking at Crush Sequence, and we're looking at Stolen Life. We're then looking at Ground Crush, which is an Earthquake ability, which increases the skill base damage by 4,923. So that combined with the default value, and this is pretty high, and also combined with dropping bleed onto them, which for large scale, mobs, it's pretty awesome. Most mobs die with this hitting this ability and the bleed at the same time. It's just a bit too much overkill, and it does that for him. So this build is slightly OP to a certain extent, but obviously it'll get stronger the higher you go as well. But it can be used from early game. All right, and then for boots, obviously I'm running not obviously, but I'm running Bleeding Impulse, which is modified. That's specifically on my Golem. So when I hit my Golem ability or skill, this will, when the skill is active, will spawn a radial impulse that will inflict further bleed on enemies within a 10-meter radius. Frequency of this is frequency of 2 seconds, which is great. So the minute you armor up, you're applying bleed. So it's great if this ability goes into cooldown and you need to, reapply the bleed, then you can hit Golem, and Golem's gonna apply bleed and just continue that bleed cycle, so you have bleed rolling the whole time. And trust me, you can actually kill enemies without firing a single bullet, which I will show you in the clip. But it does help to shoot, obviously, to do more damage and to finish the round or the map a lot quicker, or whatever you're doing. But I just wanted to show you guys that at end game I ran this through for, I didn't keep it too long, it was like a minute, and I wanted to show this to you guys. Alright, next we are going to go through the assigned skills very quickly. So I'm just running Earthquake as my first ability, my middle ability is Tremor, and my last ability is Golem. You guys can read up about the abilities in the game, so I'm not going to make this video too long. Alright, so next, after that, we will move on to setting your points into the class, and that'll be in the next video. Right. So looking at class points, you have 20 points in total once you finish the end game, or so to speak, or your points that you can use in regards to your class. So obviously there's three classes broken down for Devastator. There's the Vanquisher, Warden, and Seismic Shifter. I've obviously gone with Seismic Shifter to apply as much bleed as possible, and I really enjoy this build. Like I said, this could take you from beginning all the way to end game, and it works really well. So this is how I put my points in. So I'm going to go through this very quick. I don't really want to make this video too long. So 1 point into anomaly reservoir, 1 point into rejuvenation, 1 point into endless tremors, 1 point into anomaly reservoir again. Then we're looking at paladin to give your golem a bit more in regards to power wise, anomaly power. We're looking at pure anomaly, we're looking at anomaly reservoir and stone circle, which is one up here. We then come down to a cooldown, which is endless tremor. We are start now applying the bleed duration. We come down to add more anomaly reservoir power. We then come down to add more bleed duration again, which is 30%. So that's 60%. We go back to anomaly reservoir. Sorry guys, which increases your anomaly power by a further 6%. We then applying bloodbath, which is gonna bleed afflicted on enemies, deals 30% more damage. We then gonna activate blood donation. You are healed for 25% of your bleed damage, which is nuts. We then want to use increase your skill leech by 6%, which is awesome. We then also want to apply protected by anomaly, which increases your armor bonus by 40% of your anomaly power, which is really good for survivability. We want to use skill sentry, which is really good as well, which increases armor by 20% and resistance by 20% for 10 seconds. We want to apply a further bleed on affected enemies, who deals 30% more damage. And lastly, we want to end off by Earth's Heritage, which will increase seismic skill base damage by 50%, which is nuts. Alright, so this is basically where you want to spend your 20 points in regards to this particular build. And yeah, next I will show you guys a clip of me running this at endgame, and it'll be about a minute or so, and I'll never use my weapon. I'll just basically be running around, popping these abilities, etc. What I want to say to you guys is, running the Devastator, there is no correct way of running this in regards to, like, I gotta press 1, 2, 1, or 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, from that perspective. It's very situational. Sometimes you will end up popping your golem a lot more quicker than usual, and other times you won't. At the end of the video also I'll show you some stats from that build, or in regards to leeching, in regards to how much health you can pull back. Alright guys, with that I'll catch you guys in the next video. There's no commentary, it's a quick, I think it's about a minute and 6 seconds gameplay, and then we'll end off this video after that. What's up? So I've just got some figures for you guys quickly in regards to the whole video series you're watching. So this is me running world tier 3. I think you would say it world tier 3, or tier 3 with this build, right? So this is the Leech King Devastator build. So you can have a look at damage dealt. That's 4,106,030 damage. I don't ignore my accuracy, which is not the best. Enemies killed 247, critical hits 312. So what I want to show you guys that's quite interesting here is the healing perspective, right? So if you look at this, you'll see the healing from class heal is 22,721. Alright, healing from skill leech, and that's quite important. That's 72,707. That's nuts, guys. That's like insane healing, right? So obviously you have total damage. Then you can have a look at your damage sources, and you can see that earthquake is doing a lot of damage. So that's that's one of the main attributes or factors in this build. Obviously, Tremor is obviously going to give you your healing as well as do some damage, and then Bleed. Look at that Bleed. The Bleed is doing 759,000 bleed on its own, which is also an equation of Earthquake's 1 million. So that's a lot of bleed being taken place. Obviously, I got my, I did some gunfire as well to try and run through this as quick as possible. And then skills used, obviously it's my 3 skills, Earthquake being used the most, followed by Tremor for healing, and then obviously Golem for, just, taking that additional damage. Lacerating Punch, I don't even know why I used that. That was just randomly. But in regards to this build, this is what it does, guys. The main factor of this build is to keep you alive. And I think having a look at like healing wise, from a class heal perspective, 22,000 healing, from skill Leech, that's 72,000. That's impressive. And obviously, the skills that are being used is obviously Earthquake's always going to be number 1, followed by Tremor and then Golem. But you could also swap this around. You could put Golem first and then go with Earthquake second. But it's all based on situational. So it's hard to say to you like you want to run 1-2, 1-2, 1-2 the whole time. I guess I could do that, but in regards to the way it's set up, this is the way you want to run, this is what you want to do. So as my previous video, you would have seen me running this build without even killing an ad, and it's just nuts. That's obviously just running it, just applying bleeds like nuts all over the enemies in the thick of the fight, bleeding everyone to death. And that's basically what you want to do. You want to go with that full bleed and just bleed it to death. So yeah, I hope this video has helped, guys. Let me know if you would like me to do more of these videos, and I'm happy to do so. And with that, guys, I will catch you guys on the next one. I'm out.